Buckle up in the back. Do you ever remember time you were in a vehicle, sat in the back seat, didn't put on a seatbelt, either you forgot or you were in a hurry, you got in, and you didn't have time to? What was the first thing to happen to you when somebody immediately stopped on brakes? I remember a time when I was a kid and I was around with my mother, and she immediately stopped on brakes to avoid hitting the car in front of her. First thing that happened to me is I flew forward and I hit the back seat of that seat that she was sitting in, and she flew forward and hit her head on the dashboard. Many times when people are not restrained in the back seat, this causes them to fly forward, fall on the floor, hurting themselves, even hitting their head on the driver's seat or hitting their head on the window, and also cause the driver to push forward, hitting their head on the steering wheel, dashboard, or the windshield. To reduce any chance of injury while being a passenger in a vehicle, you want to be sure to always wear a seatbelt. Wearing a seatbelt secures you, keeps you safe, keeps you from moving all over the vehicle, getting hurt, getting fractured neck, fractured bones, broken bones, getting thrown out of the vehicle, even leading to death. Because if you get thrown out of the car in the event of an accident, you could either break some bones in your body or you can die. So it's always best to check to make sure you have a seatbelt on. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, 966 deaths involved people who were unrestrained in a vehicle in 2015. The right restraints. Making sure children, you know, are safely in car seats or booster seats at the required age limit will ensure that the children are safe and secure. And you also want to check when you before you get in that vehicle and you pull off that your seatbelts are working properly. That way, if your passengers get in and they choose to put on seatbelts, that it's working right. They're not jammed or stuck, or one fell behind the little seat thingy and you have to pull it out, or your kids are in the wrong car seat, they're too big, they're too small. You want to check all those things before you pull out into any traffic, whether you're going around the corner to the store, to the school, a minute away, 30 minutes away. Always check to be sure people are wearing seatbelts properly, kids are in the right chairs, and that they have seatbelts on. According to an article called Fastening Seatbelts 3 Seconds to Save Lives, consumers were urging the Department of Transportation to add chimes into vehicles to remind the driver that the passengers were not in seatbelts. Most cars these days do have a reminder to go off when your front seatbelt is not fastened. So now they're trying to get more vehicles that alert the driver that passengers don't have a seatbelt on, which is going to help save lives and keep people from getting injured in case of an accident. And about 7% of vehicles today already have these in place to alert you that the rear passenger is not in the seatbelt. That could happen when children are not carefully restrained in seatbelts, or if you get in an accident and your passenger's not in one, you could have hospital calls, medical calls, fines. If you're in a state where it's a law passed that you have to have seatbelts on the back seat, you will get a ticket. And if your child is standing up in the car, playing in the back seat and not in the seatbelt, boosted seat or car seat, this leads to distractions for you and whoever person is driving, which can lead to an accident. Someone getting hurt and harmed. Even the child that's up out of the seat can get hurt and harmed. So we want to express and persuade people to check, makes your children in the right seat. I can't express this enough. Just check and make sure they're in that chair and in that seatbelt. That keeps you from getting an accident, being frustrated, and keeps kids from playing around and moving around that back seat and getting injured. In an article, 2014 Chicago Tribune article, it states that passengers are credited 44% of fatalities in vehicle rear seat accidents. And most of the people said that they either forgot to put their seatbelt on when they got in the car, or it's just a habit when they get in the back seat that they don't have to put one on. So let's remind everyone and try to persuade everybody to put these seatbelts on when they're a passenger in a vehicle, any vehicle going 1, 2, 3 miles away, 30, 20 minutes miles away. Here we go. I have a little short video of what happens when you're not fastened in that back seat of that car.
If you're not in the rear, you're putting yourself people in the vehicle at risk. People belted in the front seat can be injured or killed by unbelted occupants in the rear, flying forward in air.
So let's check. My word of the day, check. When you get in that car, make sure everybody's buckled up. Take the time to check to see that everyone is buckled up. You can save their life, even your life, if you just take 1 second and check. So I urge all drivers to check the backseat passengers for safety before driving. It only takes a split second to check to make sure that the seatbelts are working properly, that everybody's fastened down, that children are in the right car seat, just to save a life and to prevent injuries and distractions in a vehicle. So I say, stop what you're doing before you get in that car. It only takes a second to check, as it does for a life to be gone and if an accident occurs. So I urge everybody to check for seatbelt safety for all rear passengers, no matter how far you're going in a vehicle.